Greetings, VC. Welcome to TKR Video Central. I'm TC Kirkham, and this is TC's Vinyl Archive, the complete albums collection. 3 episodes to go. This one, Chems, and the Ube Cube. That's it. We're going to start this, and this is going to be miscellaneous type stuff. They're kind of loosely divided into categories. These first two are completely divided into categories, and then the rest I'll explain what happened when we get there. We're going to start off with this first group. This is my contemporary Christian collection. It's not very much. Most of it is from the 80s, and I listened to these when I got most of these when I belonged to a Christian music club. I can't remember what it was. Um, it was years ago. In any case, there's some pretty big names here. This is Steve Archer and Through His Eyes from 1982, I think, on Myrrh. One of Chris Christian's many Christian-oriented albums in addition to the secular album I have. Love them while we can. A lot of great stuff on here. Gentleman who came around to our church when I was a kid in Harrington, Washington, and we picked up, actually, no, he came to town as part of a church organized dinner type thing, and he was fascinating. My mom picked up both of those albums, and by Bill Robinson. This is Lost and Found, and Makes a Joyful Noise, question mark, question mark. They were from Bill was selected by the convention to be the convention soloist for the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International Greater Charlotte, North Carolina region. And we saw him in Washington, so he was going all over the place. Another gentleman who I got to meet and talk to, and I found to be very, very super friendly and kind, was a gentleman who came to our church a number of times. His name was Jim Moore. This was his solo album. As you can see, it's been autographed up there to me. Um, the Lord's Song. This was from 1980, I believe. And then 3 of his earlier albums when he was part of the trio, then duo, known as Dust and Ashes. This is A Different Shade of Blue. Jim is in the middle there. When they were a duo, this is From Both Sides from 1976. I think, no, it would have been before that because I picked this up in 76. And The Lives We Share. Benny Hester, for those of you who don't know, this is he was a quite a person in the Christian community. He wrote 90% of the music that was featured in the Nickelodeon television series Roundhouse. He was their musical director. Absolutely fantastic stuff. He's got a great voice, and this is very Christian oriented, very praise oriented. And this is his later album called Legacy. One of the biggest Christian rock bands of all time, Petra. This is More Power to You. This was a sample we picked up from Prairie Bible Institute when they came to our church to do some lecturing and stuff. Prairie Bible Institute, Prairie Sampler #2. It features the Jubilee Quartet, Youth Used of God, Ambassador Choir, Missionary Melodies, Golden Jubilee, and Men of Song. And finally, it's the band that guitarist Dan Huff got started with. I think he's the one that's third from the left. This is Whiteheart. I think I had the second album on cassette. So I got quite a few contemporary Christian albums. Let's get into comedy, shall we? I didn't have a lot of comedy, and I repurchased some stuff I used to have. I lost all of my comedy albums when we moved across country in 1981. A lot of these I picked up from Adam at Record Crate, and some of them are in really great shape, and they're not in perfect alphabetical order. I'm sorry about that. I haven't had time to do it. We're just going to pick through them as we go through them. Bob Newhart, Behind the Button-Down Mind. Bob Newhart was one of the funniest comedians ever to walk the planet. This is the button down mine on TV. There's more coming from him. In the meantime, this one is Knockers Up from Rusty Warren. Very adult album. A soundtrack and comedy from Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In with a die-cut cover, as you can see. Bedtime stories for adults from Archie Campbell. Best known for Hee Haw, probably. Alan Sherman, My Son the Nut, sings nutty things, this time with strings. Alan Sherman, another genius of his day. I always found him, a lot of his stuff, hilariously funny. There's a song called No One's Perfect, which is all about the choral groups of the 60s, which is hilarious. Steve Martin, a wild and crazy guy. This features King Tut on it, as well as his comedy routines from that tour. Um, I have several of these. These are not all together, as I said. This is Volume 1, All-Time Great Bloopers, collected by Kermit Schaefer. This is one of the sets that was done on As Seen on TV in the early 70s. Go past this one very quickly. Bill Cosby, Why Is There Air That I Can Breathe? I'm sorry, that was mean. David Fry, Richard Nixon Superstar. David Fry did a killer imitation of Nixon. Saturday Night Live soundtrack. This is one of the ones I had that I lost. I picked it back up from Adam. Adam or Don. One of them had it for sale. It's got some great stuff on it. This one is the best of Spike Jones. Another one from David Fry, I Am the President. Couple from Lily Tomlin. This is a recording. These are her routines as Ernestine, the telephone operator. And I had this one as a kid and lost it and got it again from either Adam. Got it from Adam at Record Crate, and that's the truth. More from Alan Sherman. My name is Alan. Alan Sherman sings the great movie hits and songs from the cutting room floor. This is the original #1 album that made him a superstar, The Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart. The Bob Newhart albums all came in a set from Adam at Record Crate, and they are in incredible shape. The Button Down Mind Strikes Back. And love this. I think I had to get this again too because I had it when I was in high school and I loved it. Gilda Radner, Live from New York. This is the soundtrack from her one-woman Broadway show. Well, sort of one woman. She had other singers and actors in it. And rounding out the comedy, this is Joan Rivers, What Becomes a Semi-Legend Most. And three more of the blooper albums. This is a K-Tel collection. Pardon my blooper. The second side of which is a long diatribe about Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. This is another one that was you could get anywhere. The best of bloopers, radio and television's most hilarious boners. And a 10-inch, this came from Dawn, and I don't think I've listened to this yet because I haven't had time. New edition #5, 10-inch more, pardon my blooper, from Kermit Schaefer. Okay, now we're going to get into a small area. The rest of this pile is all loosely organized, and some of these, as I was going through it, I realized probably should be put in other categories. So I'm going to show them now, and they'll be in my other cat. There's some various artist stuff. There's some that need to have category cards made for them. These are all the stuff that I have left from the miscellaneous section. It's going to have a little bit of everything. And we're just going to take them in order. Sound effects albums first. This is Chilling, Thrilling Sounds of the Haunted House. This is the original from Walt Disney Records. Um, and two environments albums. This is disc one, The Psychologically Ultimate Seashore and Optimum Aviary. I have to admit, these are very cool to have on when you're writing or reading or whatever. I have had these since the 80s. And this one is Ultimate Heartbeat and Wind in the Trees. The heartbeat's kind of weird, but the Wind in the Trees is cool. I have a soundtrack of, excuse me, a sound effects album, The Sounds of Outer Space, also from Walt Disney Studios. It has, side one is like all themed where they put stuff and you can write stories to them. And side two is the individual sound effects. It's quite cool. I'd love to have this on CD because I could use it easier. All right, now we're just going to get into the mixing the weird stuff all over the place. It's going to be all over the place. Folk songs and drinking songs of Germany, the Vienna Male Choir, with the Vienna Symphony Horn Quartet and the Hamburg Singing Society. I believe that came from Steve at Value Vinyl, as did this 25 Polka Greats. This one I picked up from Dawn. She played it on her Weird Wednesday album show, Sounds in Space. This is early stuff that is narrated by Ken Nordine. And it's music, but it's also sound effects. And Victoria Requiem Masses came from Dawn. Church Choir of the Abbey of Mount Angel and the Portland Symphonic Choir. Like I said, these are in no order, folks. This is record 3 of In the Groove with the Kings of Swing. Features all kinds of swing music on it. That's the tag that Don and Mary had on it when they sold it to me. This one is Singer Talking Picture Story Study Prints. Um, this one has like how people travel in the city. You've got sound effects basically for elevated trains, freeways, commuter rails, so on and so forth. Mozart and Haydn performed by Wanda Landowska. I do need to get a classical section started because I have a few more than I thought I had. This is Memory Songs and Melodies. This is a Longines Symphonet Recording Society album. I don't know if it has any particular artist. It's just classic memory songs and melodies, songs like Red River Valley, Home on the Range, William Tell Overture, so on and so forth. This one and the next couple here probably should have been in the various artists section. This is Ticket to Rock from CBS Records, and it features stuff from a lot of this I got like right at the tail end of it organization, and I just threw it all in one segment. This includes music from Saga, Buck Dharma, REO Speedwagon, Clocks, Randy Meisner, Shooting Star, Paul Carrick, Aldo Nova, Garland Jeffries, Fort, Fort Knox, and Ozzy Osbourne. This one is Gift Trip Sampler. This one is from RCA, and it's a similar one. Despite the gift theme, it is just regular music from Evelyn Champagne King, the main ingredient, the Bendith Band, Staple Singers, the Dells, Dream Machine, Sky, Lakeside, Carl Carlton, and about 10 other ones. I just want to get through these. This one is Instant Replays. This came from Dawn from the look of it. This is mostly lounge and easy listening stuff with Carol Channing, Peter Dushin, Pete Fountain, Burt Kemfert, Frankie Lane, and Bobby Byrne. Top hits of the 60s. Original recordings from the look of it. This was an album sold by Radio Shack. It is on the Realistic label. and features Brian Hyland, Ruby and the Romantics, Jimmy Gilmer and the Fireballs, the New Christie Minstrels, the Kingsmen, the Angels, the Ripcords, Bobby Vinton, the Byrds, and Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. And Debbie's ears are burning. Oh no, that's Momster, forget which. This is another one of those types of albums. Again, more toward easy listening, called The New Stars in Action. I have another one of these that's not the same one, that's in the various artists, I believe, that includes Sergio Franchi, Anne Margaret, Peter Nero, Anthony Newley, Ethel Ennis, Dick Shorey and his percussion pops orchestra, the women folk John Gary, Gail Garnett, Ed Ames, Ketty Lester, and Glenn Yarborough. Glenn and Don and Mary sold this to me. Great stuff there. This one is The Silver Years, commemorating Capitol's 25 years in the recording industry. Yeah, these all need to be moved to various artists. This includes. Oh, crap. I can't really read it. Let me turn the light on here. I'm going to have to look at the label. This includes Nat King Cole, Peggy Lee, Stan Kenton, Kay Starr, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Dean Martin, Nancy Wilson, Al Martino, Wayne Newton, Lou Rawls, Matt Monroe, and Singing Nun, Sister Schwab. I was like, what is that? Oh, that's the Singing Nun. Dominique. Okie dokie. And another one from Capitol, the Capitol Disc Jockey album, February 1967. Yeah, some of these belong in various artists. You can tell that I probably should have these in my Oop Cube because I don't think I've listened to any of these. I will rectify that as the summer goes on. Little bit of everything, a couple of tracks each from Reuben Mitchell, Al Martino, Andy Russell, George Shearing, Nancy Wilson, and the Magnificent Men. So that was an easy listening oriented one. The history of country music. This is volume 2. This was part of one of those on the as seen on TVs, and it has 2 albums with Porter Wagner, Don Gibson, the Browns, Jim Reeves, Jimmy Dean, Bobby Bear, Skeeter Davis, Norma Jean, Connie Smith, Roger Miller, Dottie West, Dolly Parton, Dickie Lee, Jerry Reed. I think Amos Moses is the most recent song on the album. Farron Young, Leroy Van Dyke, Ferlin Husky, Sonny James, Everly Brothers, George Jones, Leroy Van Dyke again. Ernest Ashworth, Red Sovine, Tom T. Hall, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Johnny Cash. And we did a show on this on Finding Your Music Mojo, which is coming back shortly. I'll have news on that later this week. About sound-alike albums. We had our friend Ben Minot from Oddity Archive on. He has done a ton of those shows. This is what these are. This is a group calling itself Tribes. Sounds of the Woodstock Age. It is Tribes singing all these songs on the cover, plus a few more. This one is actually not half bad. And this is one top charts hits of today from Al Shire, played and sung like the original hits. I got this from the people that I got my Yvonne Elliman and Michael Nesmith from, I got when they moved and gave me all their albums. This is sound alike versions. There's not even a name of a group on here. Of Everything's Beautiful, which I think is Everything is Beautiful. Vehicle, American Woman, Cecilia, Up Around the Bend, Turn Back the Hands of Time, Come and Get It, Make Me Smile, Which Way You Going, Billy, and Reflections of My Life. The Oddball 10-incher. This is all classical music and was designed to be played in the Montgomery Ward stores. Side one is all classical. Side two also has Nat King Cole, Nelson Riddle, Joseph Carr, and Billy May. It's basically stuff that was designed for in-store play in those what's the word? Department stores. Good lord. Getting a huge shade off that. You're gonna ask me why these aren't in the soundtracks or why they're not with the groups. Because some of these are story songs, story albums, and some of them are musical albums. But and then one of them I actually should move to the groups, but I've classed them all as children's recordings right now. I know I have Zoom and Flash Beagle in the soundtracks. This is Captain Kangaroo Tells Just So Stories, which I picked up from either Donna or Mary for Kim. She is a huge fan of Captain Kangaroo, part of her childhood. I listened to this album so much when I was a kid. I thought I'd lost it, and then it was here, and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't seen it for years. When I unpacked from our last place, didn't even realize it was still there. This is Walt Disney's production, the narrated story from the 1975 film Escape to Witch Mountain. Features sound clips from the movie, Eddie Albert narrating the story, pulling it together, and the voice cast from the movie, which would include Ike Eisenman, Kim Richards, Ray Milland, and Donald Pleasance. This is story songs from Captain Cool and the Kong's Croft Super Show. These are story, 10-minute stories from Magic Mongo, Bigfoot and Wild Boy, and Wonderbug. Look at that picture. That was after they ditched the makeup after Bert Summer left. This one I have a bunch of 45s of these too. I bought them because I'm a huge Trek fan. This is four exciting, all new action adventure stories from Star Trek. This came out after the first film, the motion picture. It does not feature the original cast. I will say that the people who do these, I believe it's for Gold Key. No, Peter Pan. This one's for Peter Pan. They actually don't do a bad job of the characters. They don't sound like William Shatner or Leonard Nimoy or DeForest Kelley, but they don't do a bad job. And this definitely belongs with the groups, not with the children's albums. The Smurfs All-Star Show, this was the second album. It's music in the vein of the Chipmunks. It's sped up, and it's actually really kind of fun. I enjoyed it. I got this when I was 19 years old. I must have enjoyed it. Um, all right, give me a second here. Okay, I had to move the pile. It was falling over. Instructional and spoken word next. Um, this one I got from Adam, and I have never opened it because it was sealed when I got it, and I didn't see any point in opening it because I wasn't ever going to listen to it. But it's nice to have it part of the collection. How the Waste Was Won. It's an exercise album released in the early 80s, judging from the fact that 9 to 5 and Elvira are on here. From June La Salvia. I've never heard of this woman. More story stuff. This is Rudyard Kipling, narrated by Boris Karloff. I believe this was a Grammy winner, actually. Adam sold me one of these. I thought this was just cool. Co-star the record acting game with script enclosed. It does. This one did not include the script. Oh, yes, it does. There it is. Here's the script that comes with it. This one is scenes from the best-selling novel Peyton Place, performed by Paulette Goddard, and you perform along with her. These are so cool. They're so expensive though. There's like 10 of them, and I'd love to get them all, but they're just like ugh. Okay, dancing instructions mostly. Let's Disco comes with a book, as you see. Um, Nonstop Disco from T Connection, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Foxy and Peter Brown on side one, on side two, with instructions on side one, and it's designed to teach you all the different disco dances that were out then. So is this one, Night Moves. This is the professional approach to disco dance instruction. It is a box. I keep it with the disco stuff. It has a book, and believe it or not, the professional uh, approach has instructions and music, and it's a K-Tao album. So I don't know how professional that's going to be. Jimmy Nelson's Instant Ventriloquism and Ventriloquism for the Beginner, the quickest course in how to become a ventriloquist ever devised. Uh-huh. Workout albums now. Body by Jake, Don't Quit. I purchased this when I was in my mid 20s when it was out because of the music. It has Bobby Caldwell, it has Joseph Williams. In fact, Firepower from this album was a #1 Kirkham Report hit in 1985. That's the Joseph Williams track. There's a lot of good stuff on here if you can get around Jake doing his like bull crap in between. And the same goes for Richard Simmons and Reach. This is actually a fun album. I was a big fan of Richard's, and a lot of good stuff on there. And Learn to Hustle. This was the one my friend Kathy sold to me. She was my usual partner in doing this kind of stuff. And a couple of spoken word ones. This one is an open letter from Victor Lundberg. I want to do a whole show on spoken word hits one of these days. It's basically the hit off this was an open letter to my teenage son. It was a top 10 hit, and it was basically like, oh, you do all these things I don't like, and I love you anyway, but if you shirk the draft, I will disown you forever. Dick Clark actually made an answer song to it. And it was at the time of Vietnam. Earl Nightingale gives you the strangest secret. Earl Nightingale was a financial advisor. When I was a kid, there was a beautiful music station I used to listen to called KPQ FM. It's now a rock station. It's in Wenatchee, Washington. At the time, they were a beautiful music station, but they ran a 2-hour block of news from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and a half an hour long at noon. And Earl Nightingale was a part of both of those. And I just got this for old time's sake. Finally, the last of the regular collections. These are all. Well, no, they're not all. Sorry, let me take that back. This is another one I have not opened. It's classical. And I believe it came from Dawn. Camelot Music Classical Club. It is the Maxell Classical Sampler, a limited edition stereo recording. Excuse me. Funkin' Wagnall's Family Library of Great Music, Album 1, Beethoven. These were manufactured especially for Funkin' Wagnalls by RCA Custom. You could buy them at Safeway stores every week. They had a different one every week. I only got the first one, Beethoven. I have a couple of, I put, as I said, in the instrumentals, I had a lot of my Muzak stuff, but I had also put a couple of them here and a couple of other um, library music albums, like this one, the Showcase Production Music, which is Dramatic Link, um, Suspicious Cadence. This is all appearing to be like mystery oriented stuff. Then we have Stimulus Progression 5. Let me make sure the right album is in here. Yes, because the Muzaks, I had a couple that are different. These are all Muzak original recordings of popular stuff and original stuff for Muzak Entertainment. And there's also Stimulus Progression number 3. Is that the, I want to see, make sure this is the right one again. This is all Christmas music. Uh, Symphonic Treasures. This again, I think, is from Longines. Offenbachiana. So it's all Offenbach stuff. Scheherazade from Rimsky-Korsakov by the Pittsburgh Symphony. And then 3 test albums, all of which I bought from Dawn. There is the Realistic Sound Odyssey direct to disc. This is a limited edition, custom recorded exclusively for Radio Shack. This does have regular music on it, but it is designed to test the different sounds you have. There is Maxell's sampler stereo recording for jazz, which obviously belongs to the other one, so this isn't a test disc, excuse me. And finally, the Power and the Majesty original master recording. This is, let me pull this out here. This is sounds and stuff that happened. It's thunderstorms and steam locomotives. The side 1 is a thunderstorm, side 2, but it is designed to help you set your stereo speakers so you can get the right sound at the right age. I do not believe this came from Mobile Fidelity in 1976. So I actually do have a MoFi in my collection. What do you know? I didn't actually think I did. This is probably not meant for quadraphonics. I don't know. Okay, that's all of the single albums. Now, I have a collection of box sets I'm going to bring over, and we'll show those off. And then we just have one more show to go. I'll be right back. Okay, let me explain about the box sets. These are not box sets in the similar sense that you would think of them. Like it's not a Beatles box, or the all mono, or Rolling Stones. Well, I have 1 or 2 of those. These are albums that are that have more than 1 record that are considered box sets, except for one, which is going to go with this children's story stuff when I get everything sorted again out of this last category. These are mostly stuff that I picked up from Adam at Record Crate or Dawn over the years, and a lot of them are as seen on TV or Reader's Digest type. So this is what we've got, okay? We will start with from 38 great artists of yesterday and today. This is Reader's Digest, pleasure programmed, Joyous Noel. This is all Christmas music from the likes of Enrico Caruso, Mario Lanza, Glenn Miller, Perry Como, Harry Belafonte, 2 or 3 dozen others. It is a 4 record set. Comes in this collector's box. I have not opened this one. I got this. Adam sold this to me for $6, and it doesn't have a list of all the stuff, but I'm sure it's got most of his big hits on it. This is a collection. It is again a Reader's Digest collection, the best of Roger Whittaker. Sorry, I'm a sucker for that stuff. Hoagie Carmichael, From Stardust to Old Blue Buttermilk Sky. This actually is a like a historical release. The one of those, actually, the one that is actually contemporary stuff. This is Chicago. This is a 2, 3, 4 record set, and is there's like I think this is one of this was actually released at this time of their first album. It was incredibly like well sought after under different types of stuff. I think this might be live also. I don't remember. I have a lot of Chicago stuff on CD, so I actually don't remember what that is. Another historical one from Columbia, Billie Holiday, The Golden Years. This one's kind of, the bottom of it's kind of falling out. This has all of Billie Holiday's best known songs. Yeah, there's a whole list of other people that's on here with her. Then there's another Reader's Digest collection called Ragtime Fun. This is generally like choral groups and stuff performing classic stuff from like the early 1900s. It was cheap. What can I say? The two that I have one that I bought from Adam, and the other one I've had since it came out. Um, I've had the cassette edition. It's all I could get at the time. Adam actually had the vinyl edition that has everything with it: the booklet, the poster, and the vinyl. Um, and nobody's supposed to have it because it was recalled after a lawsuit. But hey, I don't care about that kind of stuff. This is the vinyl version of E.T. the Extraterrestrial, narrated by Michael Jackson, produced by Quincy Jones, with music from John Williams. It does include everything with it, including the book that goes with it from from the movie. It has the huge poster of Michael and E.T. together. This was recorded around the same time Thriller was recorded, right afterward. And the original cardboard sleeve, which has been replaced by a lined anti-static sleeve with the custom label. The only difference between that one and mine is the one that I own here. This one here is the cassette version, and it lays a little thing, the little wonky little tab that keeps the cassette in place is coming out, and it also came with an ET fan club thing. But here is that on tape. And again, the poster is also intact inside the booklet. And I've always treasured that because of the original song Someone in the Dark, which Michael recorded for this album. That was why it got pulled lawsuit, because he didn't have permission from, who was he on? Columbia Epic at the time. This album came out on Warner Brothers, I think. um, it got caught up in a mess. So those are my box sets. Nothing serious. Now, next time when we get back together later this week, it will be the final edition of the show. It is my Oob Cube. The Oob Cube is filled with more current stuff that I play on a regular basis when I can, and stuff that I have not yet listened to. I'm going to have to add a few things to that, obviously, from that miscellaneous thing, because I thought I'd listened to most of it, but I turns out I haven't even opened a couple of them. I am going to get that sorted also. But the Oob Cube will be fun because there's all manners of stuff in that. And we will get to that on the next show. I hope you've enjoyed this series. If you have, I hope you've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And please like, share, and comment. If you don't comment, I don't know what you think of my collection. I know what most of you think about my collection anyway. But what the hell? I want to hear it anyway. I will be doing, you guys know we've been having serious financial issues. They are starting to ease just a tiny bit, but we could still use your help with our GoFundMe. We'd appreciate it if you'd support us through our swag shop. We got lots of great merch for sale that has the TKR logo and a bunch of other stuff. Like Feel the Groove and shirts for Obscuria Vaults and a couple of other things. Hope you pick up some of those or support us through Ko-Fi, Buy Me a Coffee, or Patreon. Until then, until Kim's show, and of course we've got our continuing semi-quincentennial sensations, which will run through July 4th, and then July 6th, Obscuria Vaults will be back also. All of that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. I hope you'll stay tuned. I hope you'll support us. I hope you'll spread the word, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. For TC's Vinyl Archive, the complete albums collection, I am TC Kirkham, TKR Video Central, and TKR Studios, wishing you a wonderful, happy week, and I will see you on the interwebs. Ciao, baby.